Welcome to Sheikh Hamdan Fazza's official channel, where royal truths meet raw emotions, and every story carries the heartbeat of Dubai's crown prince. Today, we unveil a tale that no one expected, a revelation that shocked not only the royal family but Sheikh Hamdan himself. His ex-wife, long out of the public spotlight, has returned with a message that would unravel layers of the past and ignite new waves of reflection, pain, and perhaps healing. It began with a letter. A white envelope with golden edges, sealed with a delicate rose crest, her mark. It arrived unannounced, just before Sheikh Hamdan was set to leave for an important diplomatic engagement. His heart paused. Her name on the corner hit like a forgotten melody. He hadn't heard from her in years, hadn't dared to hope for closure, let alone an explanation. But something in him knew, this wasn't just any message. This was a reckoning. Opening the letter, Hamdan's eyes danced over her handwritten words. It wasn't long, barely a page, but every sentence cut deep. She spoke of the nights she cried in silence, the times she watched him smile on the outside while breaking inside. She confessed to mistakes, yes, but also to truths she had hidden to protect both of them. And then came the line that shifted the earth beneath his feet. I never stopped loving you. I just thought letting go would save you. The palace was stunned. Advisors scrambled to interpret the move. Was this a plea for reconciliation or a public statement cloaked in emotion? But Sheikh Hamdan knew better. This was not for the cameras. This was a soul trying to return to another soul, not to rekindle necessarily, but to finally speak the words they never had the strength to say when love turned into silence. He retreated to the desert the next morning, alone. Only the horses knew where he went. He needed space, not from the public but from the whirlwind of emotions exploding within. Underneath the vast sky, among the dunes that raised him, he replayed every moment. Her laughter echoing in the chambers of his memory, her absence lingering like a perfume on clothes long stored away. He didn't cry, but the silence around him did. Their separation had been quiet, almost graceful, too graceful, in fact. There were no fights, no public drama. Just distance. Expectations. Royal obligations. Dreams unshared. They had become two people walking side by side but never really meeting anymore. When she left, it was as though a ghost had moved out. Her presence still lingered, even though her footsteps had faded. And yet, despite everything, he never publicly spoke a word against her. He protected her dignity like a shield, not just because of love, but because it was the right thing to do. He knew she bore her share of pain, but he never imagined she carried this much guilt, this much love, hidden for so long. Her letter wasn't a spark to start again, it was a candle lit to honor what once was. The world reacted quickly. Social media exploded. Was Sheikh Hamdan going to respond publicly? Would the ex-couple meet again? The royal press held its breath. But Hamdan didn't move on impulse. He never had. Behind the calmness of his face was a storm of reflection. He wasn't a man ruled by nostalgia, but he was a man who believed in truth, in respect, in unfinished stories finding their way back to closure. After days in the desert, he returned to the city, changed. Not broken, but opened. He requested a private meeting. No aides. No guards. Just the two of them, once lovers, now strangers with shared history. When she walked in, she didn't wear royal attire. Just a simple dress. no crown. Just eyes that had seen too much and lips trembling with words not yet spoken. They sat across from each other, and silence spoke first. Then, she reached across the table and placed a small ring, the one he had given her during their secret engagement ceremony, and said, "I kept this not because I hoped to return, but because it reminded me of who I was when I was loved purely." His eyes softened. No anger. No blame. Just two hearts finally facing each other without walls. Sheikh Hamdan didn't promise anything. That wasn't why she came. But he did thank her. Genuinely. He told her how much it meant to him, to hear the truth, to see her again not as a mystery but as a human being with scars like his. They didn't talk of getting back together. They talked of healing, of forgiveness, of peace. After she left, he stood by the window for hours, watching the Dubai skyline blink under the stars. He wasn't sure what tomorrow would bring, but he felt lighter. For the first time in years, the past no longer felt like a burden. It felt like a chapter, complete, finally, with its last sentence written not in pain, but in grace. The royal family remained silent, respectfully. It was his story, his decision, his heart. And as for Sheikh Hamdan, he returned to his duties with the same poise, but his poetry changed. His verses grew deeper, more personal. A new softness flowed in his public speeches, a new kind of strength born from vulnerability. He had not fallen. He had risen through remembrance. And as the world looked on, one thing was clear. Sometimes, it's not love's presence but its return, even if brief, that teaches us how deeply we once lived. Sheikh Hamdan didn't need a reunion to feel whole. All he needed was the truth, and the courage to face it. And in that moment, the ex-wife didn't just stun the prince, she helped him finally breathe free. The days that followed were quiet but heavy. The palace returned to its rhythm, but inside Sheikh Hamdan, something had shifted forever. He wasn't the same man who had lived with unanswered questions tucked beneath a royal smile. Now, there was clarity, raw, unfiltered, and sacred. He didn't speak of her to anyone, but every step he took now carried a depth that only those who've been shaken by truth can understand. Even his closest advisors noticed the change. There was a reflective calm about him, like a man who had walked through a storm and emerged with sand still on his robe but fire in his eyes. He rode his favorite horse more often now, galloping through the dunes like he was chasing memories. The desert, which had always been a sanctuary, now felt like a bridge between his past and present. He spoke to no one during those rides, but his silence was not emptiness.